Hollywood thrives on transformation, but what happens when that transformation crosses a line the industry refuses to talk about? Behind the glittering premieres and flawless magazine spreads, some actresses push their bodies far beyond what the camera ever revealed. Sudden muscle mass, sharper features, unexplained physical shifts, the rumors spread quietly, yet persistently. Were these changes the result of extreme training, medical shortcuts, or something far more dangerous? And how much pressure does the system place on women before they finally break? Tonight, we investigate the actresses who let steroids take over their bodies, uncovering the hidden fears, the career-shaping decisions, and the consequences Hollywood never wanted you to see. The real question is, how far would you go to survive in an industry built on perfection? 15. Chyna. Before she ever stepped into a Hollywood set, China-born Joanie Laurer had already built a body that rewrote expectations for women in entertainment. Her rise began in the world of professional wrestling, where her muscular frame and intense presence made her an instant standout. By the time she transitioned into acting and mainstream media, she carried with her a reputation for strength unlike any other woman in the spotlight. For many fans, she represented empowerment, but behind the admiration was a long whisper trail about performance enhancement, a subject she later acknowledged as part of her complicated journey. During her peak fame, Chyna appeared in magazine spreads, reality television, and action-leaning roles that demanded a powerful physical image. The entertainment world celebrated her physique, yet the pressure to maintain extreme size and definition became unrelenting. As she pushed deeper into the Hollywood system, the expectations grew heavier. Casting directors wanted the larger-than-life figure they had seen in wrestling. Producers encouraged the same intense physicality. And the public, drawn to spectacle, reinforced a cycle that made her transformation both an asset and a burden. Chyna later spoke openly about using substances to shape her appearance during her wrestling years, a rare honesty that set her apart from many who faced similar allegations. This transparency made her story unusually grounded, compared to the silent speculation surrounding other actresses. But it also revealed the darker side of fame, how entertainment industries reward extreme physical change while quietly ignoring the long-term consequences. Her body became her calling card, and at the same time the source of pain, criticism, and emotional strain. As she shifted toward Hollywood, the reaction was mixed. Some viewers admired her commitment to breaking gender norms. Others focused obsessively on her changing face and overall physique, fueling conversations that were far more invasive than respectful. The spotlight that once elevated her eventually dissected her. Media outlets analyzed her appearance with harsh, unforgiving precision. Online forums grew ruthless. Instead of celebrating her strength, many questioned her identity, femininity, and choices. Chyna's lasting impact on American pop culture is undeniable. She challenged the image of what a female performer could look like, especially in action-driven spaces dominated by men. Her story also became a cautionary tale about the pressures placed on women whose physicality becomes their brand. In many ways, she opened doors for actresses with athletic backgrounds, while exposing the emotional cost of maintaining a body shaped by intense training and enhancement. When people discuss women whose transformations became inseparable from their careers, Chyna's name remains one of the most significant. Her journey reveals the hidden negotiations between ambition, self-image, and an industry that demands more than any one person should ever have to give. 14. Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey entered the public consciousness as a dominant force in combat sports long before she reached Hollywood screens. Her background in judo and mixed martial arts made her a symbol of raw athletic power, and by the time she transitioned into acting, she already carried an aura of unmatched physical intensity. But with that intensity came years of whispered speculation questions about how her physique changed, how she maintained such definition, and whether the extreme demands of fighting and fame pushed her into dangerous territory. While she has consistently denied using any kind of enhancement, The conversations around her transformation became part of her public narrative, shaped by both admiration and suspicion. Her peak moment in the spotlight arrived when she moved from the fighting cage to the film set. Roles in action-heavy productions required her to maintain a sculpted, powerful look that aligned with her established persona. Hollywood loved the image, a woman who could believably stand toe-to-toe with male co-stars in explosive scenes. The transition should have been smooth, yet the pressure that followed was immense. The entertainment industry expected her to deliver the same physical dominance she displayed in sports, and audiences demanded a continuation of the myth they had come to worship. Behind the scenes, maintaining that kind of physique is a grueling task. Long hours of training, strict diets, and the emotional toll of staying in peak condition all contributed to the constant stress placed on her body. Public speculation only added fuel to the fire. Commentators questioned her muscle density, her rapid physical changes from role to role, and the intensity of her training. Though none of these discussions were grounded in evidence, they still shaped the way audiences perceived her. Hollywood's fascination with transformation turned her into a subject of endless scrutiny. When she moved deeper into film and television, the reactions became polarized. Some viewers celebrated her as a new model for female strength, someone who shattered long-standing expectations about what an action star had to look like. Others fixated on the rumors and the physical toll visible on her face and body, creating an atmosphere in which every appearance was treated as evidence for or against something she repeatedly denied. The constant analysis affected her public image, overshadowing her acting efforts and reinforcing the idea that her value lay primarily in her physical form. Ronda's lasting impact on American pop culture goes beyond the controversy. She redefined the image of the modern action heroine, pushing Hollywood to accept women who carry both muscle and menace on screen. Her career opened doors for athletes transitioning into entertainment, and her public battles highlighted the intense pressure placed on women whose bodies become commodities. Even without confirmed use of enhancements, her story reflects the broader narrative of an industry obsessed with appearance, one that often blurs the line between admiration and expectation. 13. Gina Carano. Gina Carano rose to fame through a unique blend of athletic talent and on-screen charisma, long before Hollywood recognized her as a bankable action star. With roots in competitive fighting, she carried a physique that set her apart from nearly every other actress working at the time. Powerful shoulders, defined arms, and a presence that felt unshakable, she embodied a physicality the industry rarely saw in women. As her fame grew, so did the conversation around her body. Media outlets and online communities began speculating about the intensity of her training, the speed of her physical transformations, and whether performance-enhancing substances played any role. While Gina has never confirmed such use, the speculation itself became part of her public image, fueled by the expectations placed on women who step into action-heavy roles. Her peak fame arrived when she transitioned into major studio projects. Directors sought her for characters who demanded real physical credibility, roles that required a fighter's authenticity rather than the appearance of one. Hollywood finally embraced the idea of a female lead who could convincingly perform stunts, deliver powerful strikes, and carry the weight of an entire action sequence on her shoulders. Yet behind that acceptance was a familiar pressure to maintain a body that fit a narrow vision of strength. As cameras magnified every detail, audiences noticed shifts in her build from one project to another, and commentary quickly followed. Even without evidence, the entertainment world loves a mystery, and her transformation became a subject of endless debate. Behind the scenes, the demands were enormous. Training for action cinema is relentless, involving long hours of conditioning, choreography, and diet manipulation. Gina often spoke about the mental and emotional challenges of balancing athletic expectations with performance requirements. Hollywood, however, rarely acknowledges the toll. Instead, it rewards extremes and asks performers to repeat them, no matter the personal cost. This environment amplified the scrutiny surrounding Gina's appearance, pushing discussions about her body into viral territory. Public reaction reflected a divide familiar to many women in the spotlight. Supporters praised her for breaking barriers and redefining what a female lead could look like. Critics, meanwhile, focused almost entirely on her physical form, sometimes overshadowing her acting efforts. The speculation, whether fair or not, followed her across film sets, interviews, and online spaces. And while she never allowed the commentary to dominate her narrative, its presence revealed the harsh reality faced by women whose bodies deviate from Hollywood's traditional molds. Gina Carano's lasting impact on American pop culture is undeniable. She helped expand the idea of the modern action heroine, proving that strength on screen can be genuine rather than manufactured. Her journey highlights both the progress made in representation and the lingering pressures that push actresses to extremes. In many ways, her story mirrors the broader truth of Hollywood. When a woman dares to embody real power, the world will analyze every inch of it. 12. Brigitte Nielsen. Brigitte Nielsen entered Hollywood like a shockwave, towering, striking, and carrying a physical presence unlike any actress of her era. Her background in modeling gave her a statuesque silhouette, but when she transitioned into action-leaning roles during her early career, her physique began to draw intense public attention. Fans noticed the sharp muscle tone, the defined lines in her arms and shoulders, and the athletic build that contrasted dramatically with the softer profiles of most actresses working at the time. As her career rose, so did speculation. Commentators began questioning how she achieved such rapid physical changes, and whispers about extreme training methods or possible enhancements circulated widely, even though no confirmed evidence ever tied her to steroid use. The speculation itself became part of her image, the larger-than-life woman who looked almost too powerful for Hollywood's traditional standards. Her peak fame came through blockbuster films and high-profile public relationships that made her a constant subject of media fascination. Hollywood marketed her as a unique blend of beauty and intimidation, someone who could stand beside action giants and still command the frame. That brand identity, however, required a level of physical maintenance that few could sustain. Demanding roles, long shooting schedules, and the expectation to always appear sculpted placed relentless pressure on her. When she appeared more muscular in certain periods, tabloids amplified the change, dissecting every shift in her body and suggesting hidden methods behind the transformation. Even without proof, repeated speculation shaped public perception, a reminder of how quickly Hollywood turns curiosity into narrative. Behind the scenes, the reality was far more complex. Maintaining an athletic body often meant rigid diets, exhausting workouts, and a lifestyle centered on discipline rather than glamour. Brigitte spoke in interviews about the challenges of meeting Hollywood's demands, describing how the industry's fixation on physical appearance impacted both her career and her self-image. What the public interpreted as sudden transformation was usually the result of intense training for specific roles, yet the harsher commentary ignored that reality. Once an actress is labeled too strong or too muscular, the conversation rarely returns to her craft. Hollywood's reaction to her body was conflicted. Some studios loved her imposing look and cast her accordingly, while others hesitated, fearing she overshadowed male co-stars. Audiences admired her power, but also questioned it, revealing the double standard that punishes women for the same physical traits celebrated in men. In many ways, the scrutiny surrounding her physique exposed Hollywood's discomfort with women who embody visible strength. Brigitte Nielsen's lasting impact on American pop culture remains significant. She expanded the image of what a female performer could be: bold, athletic, and unapologetically commanding. Her story reflects the hidden pressures facing actresses whose bodies fall outside Hollywood's narrow expectations. And whether through admiration or speculation, her transformation continues to shape conversations about female strength on screen. 11. Nicole Bass. Nicole Bass entered the public eye through bodybuilding, where her extraordinary size and strength made her an unmistakable figure long before Hollywood noticed her. With a physique that dwarfed many of her male counterparts, she became one of the most talked-about female bodybuilders in America. When she later transitioned into wrestling and small on-screen appearances, her body drew even more attention. Unlike many women in the spotlight, Nicole openly acknowledged using performance-enhancing substances during her competitive years, making her one of the rare performers whose transformation was not surrounded by secrecy, but by a difficult, complicated truth. Her honesty, however, also intensified the spotlight, turning her into a symbol of how far athletes sometimes feel they must go to stay competitive. At the height of her fame, Nicole's muscular frame was both her advantage and her burden. Hollywood casting agents saw her as a novelty, a woman whose physical power broke every traditional rule of femininity. She appeared in television programs, talk shows, and comedic roles that often highlighted her size more than her talent. While these opportunities expanded her visibility, they also locked her into a narrow lane, one that relied almost entirely on her extreme physique. The pressure to maintain that look remained constant, even as she moved further away from competitive bodybuilding. Behind the scenes, the toll of years spent transforming her body began to surface. Competitive bodybuilding demands relentless discipline, and in Nicole's era, the sport regularly pushed athletes toward dangerous, unsustainable extremes. She spoke candidly about the emotional and physical consequences she carried with her, including the strain that enhancement substances left on her long-term health. Hollywood rarely acknowledged these realities. Instead, it highlighted her as a spectacle, a powerful figure whose body told a story the industry preferred to sensationalize rather than understand. Public reaction was equally conflicted. Some viewers admired her dedication and saw her as a trailblazer who challenged stereotypes about women and strength. Others mocked her appearance or viewed her through the lens of shock value, ignoring the discipline and sacrifice behind her transformation. Online discussions frequently dissected her body, often with little empathy. Even when she stepped into acting, audiences focused more on her physical presence than her performance, revealing how deeply ingrained society's discomfort with muscular women truly is. Nicole Bass left a lasting imprint on American pop culture, not because she fit Hollywood's mold, but because she broke it. Her journey highlighted the pressures placed on women whose bodies defy expectation, and her openness about enhancement forced conversations that many performers avoided. In a world where the line between admiration and exploitation is razor-thin, Nicole's story stands as a stark reminder of the unseen cost behind extreme transformation and the courage it takes to live authentically in an industry built on illusion. 10. Cory Everson. Cory Everson became a defining figure in women's bodybuilding long before she stepped into Hollywood productions. With a physique that stunned audiences across America, she earned a reputation as one of the most dominant athletes in her field. Her muscular symmetry, sharp definition, and commanding presence made her a pioneer in a sport that was still shaping its identity. When she later transitioned into acting and fitness entertainment, her body remained the centerpiece of public fascination. Over the years, some commentators speculated about the methods she and other athletes of her era may have used to achieve extreme muscularity, but Cory has always been careful and private about her regimen. Any speculation came not from confirmed statements, but from the broader culture of bodybuilding during a time when enhancement substances were widely discussed in the sport. At the height of her fame, Cory appeared in television programs, fitness features, and action-leaning roles that used her athleticism as a cinematic asset. Hollywood valued her as a performer who authentically embodied strength. She wasn't pretending to be powerful, she was powerful. Yet with that recognition came the pressure to maintain a physique that constantly drew comparisons, scrutiny, and unrealistic expectations. In an era when female muscle was often treated as a curiosity, Cory became both a superstar and a lightning rod for debate. Behind the scenes, the discipline required to sustain her build was immense. Years of intense training shaped every aspect of her life, from early morning workouts to strict nutritional planning. The public rarely sees the emotional weight behind such a lifestyle, focusing instead on the spectacle of transformation. Commentary about her appearance grew louder as she gained more visibility in film and television, even though her body was the result of decades of dedication. For many actresses, scrutiny centers on beauty standards. For Cory, it centered on strength, a different, yet equally unforgiving spotlight. Hollywood reacted to her presence with both admiration and caution. Studios appreciated her uniqueness, but the industry struggled to cast women who didn't fit traditional aesthetics. Cory often found herself limited to roles that emphasized power rather than performance, and even when she succeeded, discussions around her physique overshadowed the craft she brought to the screen. This highlighted a deeper issue in entertainment. When a woman possesses visible strength, she is often reduced to it. Cory Everson's influence on American pop culture remains significant. She helped normalize female muscle in mainstream media and inspired generations of athletes who followed. Her career challenged Hollywood to rethink what a female action presence could look like, paving the way for future actresses with athletic backgrounds. Her journey reveals the tension between empowerment and scrutiny, the price of being both groundbreaking and misunderstood. 9. Rachel McLish. Rachel McLish emerged as one of the earliest icons of women's bodybuilding, long before the sport found a strong foothold in mainstream American culture. With her blend of muscularity and glamour, she became a bridge between athleticism and Hollywood aesthetics, embodying a look that was new, bold, and impossible to ignore. As she gained fame through competitions, fitness magazines, and televised features, her body became a topic of fascination. Commentators often speculated about how she achieved her striking definition and rapid physical evolution. While Rachel did not publicly confirm any use of enhancement substances, the culture of bodybuilding during her era, a period marked by widespread conversations about performance enhancers, fueled persistent speculation. Her transformation, whether misunderstood or exaggerated, became part of her public story. Her transition into Hollywood brought even more attention. When she appeared in action-oriented films, casting directors and producers leaned heavily on her athletic identity. She was often placed in roles that highlighted strength, stamina, and a physical presence rarely seen in actresses of the time. Her peak fame on screen came through portrayals that emphasized toughness and resilience, reassuring studios that audiences were ready for women who could carry action narratives without relying on male counterparts. Yet, as Hollywood celebrated her strength, it also scrutinized her for it. Any shift in her physique, even those caused by routine training cycles, triggered commentary about her appearance, feeding a narrative that placed her body at the center of her career. Behind the scenes, maintaining such a physique required discipline that few outside the fitness world truly understood. The hours of training, the dietary planning, and the emotional pressure to remain in top condition became a constant presence in her life. Rachel represented a new type of female celebrity, one whose identity was tied to strength rather than fragility. But this role came with a burden. Hollywood, eager to capitalize on her unique look, simultaneously resisted allowing her to expand beyond it. She was celebrated, yet boxed in, admired, yet typecast. The public reaction reflected the contradictions of American culture during that time. Many viewers admired her for breaking barriers and inspiring women to pursue fitness. Others viewed her muscularity through a lens of skepticism or discomfort, exposing society's deep-rooted expectations about femininity. Even as she became a positive symbol for empowerment, she was also subjected to invasive commentary about whether her transformation was natural, a question male athletes rarely faced with the same intensity. Rachel McLish's lasting impact on American pop culture is enormous. She helped spark the fitness movement that swept through the country, shifting the cultural perception of what women's bodies could look like. Her influence can be seen in the rise of athletic actresses, the normalization of women lifting weights, and the blending of beauty and strength in media imagery. She didn't just change her own body, she changed an entire cultural conversation. 8. Lenda Murray. Lenda Murray became one of the most celebrated figures in professional bodybuilding, earning admiration across the United States for a physique that blended power, symmetry, and presence with an artistry few could match. Long before Hollywood began taking notice of women with athletic builds, Lenda had already shaped the fitness world. Her broad shoulders, sculpted arms, and razor-sharp conditioning made her a dominant force on stage and a defining inspiration for the next generation of female athletes. But with such prominence came speculation not unique to her, but common to nearly every elite bodybuilder of her era. Commentators, journalists, and fans regularly debated the methods top competitors might use to achieve extreme muscularity, especially during a time when conversations about enhancement substances were unavoidable in the sport. Lenda herself kept her training philosophies private, choosing not to publicly dissect the speculations surrounding her body. Her transition into mainstream entertainment and fitness media brought her even greater visibility. Appearances on television programs, fitness documentaries, and promotional tours introduced her to audiences who had never encountered a woman with her level of strength. Hollywood producers expressed interest in her, recognizing the cinematic potential of a woman who embodied real, undeniable power. Yet the industry struggled to find roles that allowed her more than a brief spotlight or novelty casting. The reality was clear. American entertainment celebrated muscular men as heroes, but muscular women were still framed as exceptions, their physiques treated as mysteries rather than achievements. Behind the scenes, Lenda's discipline was legendary. Years of intense training cycles, precise nutritional planning, and constant preparation shaped every element of her life. While the public often reduced her transformation to a single question, how did she get that big? The truth involved sacrifices few understood. Maintaining peak condition required emotional resilience, physical endurance, and a willingness to endure the scrutiny that followed every appearance she made. Even during periods when she took breaks from competition, conversation about her physique continued to follow her, revealing how deeply society fixated on her body. Hollywood's reaction remained conflicted. Some admired her as a groundbreaking figure who challenged narrow beauty standards. Others hesitated, unsure how to integrate her authentic strength into mainstream stories. She was often typecast or offered roles that focused solely on her physicality, preventing her from exploring the full range of her personality and potential. This limitation reflected a broader issue. The entertainment industry did not yet know how to write powerful women without turning them into caricatures. Lenda Murray's legacy, however, stretches far beyond the constraints Hollywood placed on her. She transformed American ideas about women's strength, helped normalize muscle in mainstream fitness culture, and paved the way for modern actresses who embrace athleticism. Her influence appears in gyms, in sportswear campaigns, and in the growing acceptance of female power on screen. Her journey stands as proof that the world eventually catches up to pioneers, even when the path is steep. 7. Bev Francis. Bev Francis entered the American spotlight not as a Hollywood actress, but as a groundbreaking athlete whose strength became impossible for the entertainment industry to ignore. Originally known for her achievements in powerlifting and track and field, she soon transitioned into professional bodybuilding, where her unprecedented muscularity shocked audiences across the country. Bev's body represented a level of power rarely seen in women at the time, broad, dense, and sculpted with a precision that rivaled elite male athletes. As her visibility grew, so did conversations about how she achieved such dramatic physical development. Throughout her career, Bev addressed the reality of performance enhancement culture within strength sports, acknowledging widespread practices in the industry. Her honesty placed her in a unique position. Rather than denial, she offered transparency, which set her apart from many competitors of her era. Her presence eventually drew Hollywood's attention. Casting directors recognized the cinematic potential of a woman whose physicality defied every conventional expectation. She appeared in documentaries, and small on-screen roles that highlighted her extraordinary build. Yet Hollywood struggled to understand women like Bev. To the industry, her power was both fascinating and intimidating. Instead of offering her diverse roles, she was often placed in narrow character types: the enforcer, the spectacle, the figure who existed to shock the audience. Despite her charisma and depth, Hollywood reduced her to the visual impact of her body. Behind the scenes, Bev's journey was defined by rigorous discipline. Maintaining her physique required endless training sessions, strict dietary structure, and intense mental focus. The public often assumed her physical changes were solely the result of enhancement substances, ignoring the years of relentless work behind her transformation. The scrutiny was harsh and often gendered. While male bodybuilders were celebrated for their dedication, Bev and other muscular women were frequently met with suspicion, discomfort, or outright ridicule. Her body became a battleground for debates about femininity, athleticism, and the limits of transformation. Public reaction mirrored the contradictions of American culture. Supporters viewed her as a revolutionary figure, someone who shattered barriers and expanded the definition of female strength. Critics, however, questioned her appearance, her methods, and even her identity, revealing the deep bias society held against women whose bodies broke traditional molds. The speculation surrounding enhancements became part of her narrative, overshadowing the broader significance of her accomplishments. In the end, Bev Francis left an undeniable mark on American pop culture. She blazed a trail for female athletes, inspired generations of bodybuilders, and forced the entertainment industry to confront its own fears about powerful women. Her story is not simply about muscles, it is about challenging expectations in a world that prefers conformity. Through her achievements and her visibility, Bev redefined what a woman could look like and what she could be. 6. Iris Kyle. Iris Kyle stands as one of the most dominant figures in the history of women's bodybuilding, achieving a level of success and physical development that reshaped the sport and forced American audiences to confront their own expectations about female strength. Her physique, dense, balanced, and sculpted with extraordinary precision, became a benchmark for competitors around the world. As she continued to win titles and push the limits of muscular development, discussions inevitably arose about the extreme measures often associated with elite bodybuilding. While Iris maintains privacy about her personal regimen, the broader culture of her sport, especially during her competitive era, was heavily intertwined with public speculation about enhancement practices. This speculation did not target her alone, but her extraordinary dominance made her a central figure in those conversations. As her visibility grew, Hollywood and mainstream media began to take notice. Fitness magazines, sports documentaries, and television features highlighted her unparalleled strength, showcasing a woman whose body challenged every traditional rule of femininity portrayed in American entertainment. Yet despite her charisma, discipline, and undeniable presence, Hollywood struggled to find space for someone like Iris. The industry admired her power, but did not know how to write roles for women who carried real, visible muscle. Instead, she was often invited for limited appearances that showcased her as an anomaly rather than a performer with genuine potential. Behind the scenes, Iris's transformation was the result of years of ceaseless dedication. Her training routines were legendary: long hours in the gym, meticulous nutritional planning, constant mental discipline. The public often simplified her achievements into a single question: how did she get that big? Ignoring the decades of sacrifice required to build and maintain such a physique. For Iris, her body was not a spectacle but a craft, a symbol of mastery that demanded respect. Yet Hollywood and mainstream audiences frequently reduced her to a visual shock, turning her hard work into a talking point rather than a celebration of excellence. The public reaction to Iris revealed deep cultural biases. Supporters hailed her as a trailblazer, someone who expanded the definition of what women could achieve in strength sports. Critics, however, questioned her appearance with a harshness rarely directed toward male athletes. Discussions about enhancement substances surrounded her career not because of confirmed statements, but because society struggled to understand a woman embodying so much visible power. The contrast between admiration and suspicion became a defining part of her public narrative. Despite limited opportunities in Hollywood, Iris Kyle's impact on American pop culture is profound. She forced conversations about gender, strength, and the limits of physical transformation. Her presence helped carve out space for athletic women in media, fitness, and competitive sports. And through her achievements, she inspired countless athletes who saw in her a model of relentless discipline and unapologetic power. Iris's legacy is not just about muscle, it is about expanding the boundaries of what a woman can represent on the world stage. 5. Linn Bailey. Linn Bailey became one of the most recognizable faces in modern American fitness, rising from the competitive world of physique contests to a level of mainstream visibility rarely achieved by female strength athletes. Her build, sculpted shoulders, deep back lines, and a powerful athletic silhouette turned her into a social media phenomenon. As her fame grew, so did commentary about her rapid physical evolution. In the fitness community, debates about training intensity, supplementation, and enhancement culture were constant, and Dana often found herself at the center of those discussions. She repeatedly addressed the subject in interviews, denying the use of steroids and emphasizing the discipline behind her training. Still, public speculation followed her, fueled not by evidence but by the extreme standards of the bodybuilding world and the dramatic transformations she displayed over the years. Her peak visibility came when she won major physique competitions and transitioned into mainstream fitness entertainment. Appearances in documentaries, expos, and digital media made her a household name among American gym culture. Hollywood eventually took interest, inviting her into special features, fitness segments, and cameo-style appearances designed to highlight her striking build. Yet despite her charisma and on-camera talent, she faced the same challenge many muscular women confront: an industry that celebrates physical extremes in men, but hesitates to integrate strong women into narrative roles. Instead of exploring her potential as an action performer or athletic actress, Hollywood often limited her to visual displays of strength. Behind the scenes, Dana built her transformation through relentless work. Long training sessions, strict nutritional discipline, and a deeply competitive mindset shaped her rise. She often documented the emotional highs and lows of elite fitness, revealing the pressure to maintain a physique that millions watched online. For every admirer inspired by her dedication, there were critics questioning her methods. Discussions about whether her body was natural often overshadowed her achievements, reducing years of discipline to speculative debates. This scrutiny mirrored the larger cultural discomfort surrounding women who challenged traditional body standards. Public reaction toward Dana has always been sharply divided. Supporters view her as an empowering figure who encouraged women to lift heavy, build strength, and redefine beauty on their own terms. Critics, however, scrutinized her appearance with an intensity rarely directed toward male athletes, suggesting that extreme muscularity in women must come from unnatural sources. These conversations placed her in the crossfire of cultural tension, admiration for her accomplishments on one side, and suspicion born from bias on the other. Despite these challenges, Linn Bailey's impact on American pop culture is unmistakable. She helped mainstream the idea that women can pursue strength without apology. She became a blueprint for athletic influencers, blending training, entrepreneurship, and media presence into a modern model of fitness fame. Her legacy reveals the complexities of physical transformation in the spotlight, the empowerment it brings, the scrutiny it invites, and the cultural shifts it sparks. 4. Jillian Michaels. Jillian Michaels became a household name through fitness television, where her tough, no-nonsense persona and sculpted physique turned her into one of the most influential trainers in American pop culture. Her rise began with her appearance on a major weight loss reality program, where her intense coaching style and visibly athletic build made her instantly recognizable. As her fame grew, so did public scrutiny. Viewers noticed shifts in her muscularity over different seasons, prompting speculation about the methods behind her physical transformation. Jillian consistently denied using steroids or enhancement substances and attributed her appearance to rigorous training, long hours in the gym, and a lifelong commitment to fitness. Still, the speculation persisted, driven more by the unrealistic standards of television and fitness culture than by any verified information. During her peak fame, Jillian expanded far beyond television. She became an author, a fitness entrepreneur, and a public speaker, building a brand around strength, empowerment, and personal discipline. Hollywood treated her as both a fitness authority and a celebrity in her own right, inviting her to talk shows, magazine features, and cameo roles. Yet the more visible she became, the more comments surfaced about her physique. Critics questioned her low body fat, her pronounced muscle tone, and the transformation she displayed between early seasons and later public appearances. The same qualities that made her aspirational to millions also made her a target for speculation, much of it fueled by the intense pressures placed on fitness icons to look a certain way. Behind the scenes, Jillian often spoke about the emotional and physical demands of her career. Maintaining an image centered on peak conditioning required a level of discipline that few understood. Filming schedules, public expectations, and the constant spotlight created a cycle in which she felt compelled to stay at an extreme level of fitness year-round. For many viewers, the changes in her physique appeared sudden, but the reality was tied to grueling routines, heavy training phases, and the pressures of branding. In a culture obsessed with before and after stories, her body became its own narrative, one frequently misinterpreted. Public reaction to Jillian revealed how complex American attitudes toward muscular women can be. Millions admired her as a symbol of empowerment and credit her with transforming their approach to health. Others expressed skepticism or discomfort, questioning whether her physical development fit the narrow image of femininity that television often promotes. The gossip surrounding her transformation reflected those biases, showing how quickly admiration can shift into suspicion when a woman embodies visible power. Despite the controversies, Jillian Michaels reshaped American fitness culture. She helped mainstream strength training for women, challenged traditional beauty norms, and built one of the most influential fitness brands of her era. Her journey demonstrates the tension between empowerment and expectation, how a body celebrated for strength can be scrutinized into something controversial. Through her visibility and influence, she expanded the space for women who embrace muscle, discipline, and unapologetic ambition. 3. Grace Jones. Grace Jones stormed into American pop culture as a singular force, a model, singer, and actress whose presence felt almost supernatural. With her angular features, fierce stage persona, and sculpted physique, she transformed the standards of beauty and power in entertainment. During the height of her fame, Grace's body became a subject of intense fascination. Her sharp muscle tone, defined shoulders, and athletic build contrasted with the softer profiles expected of actresses at the time. As she moved through music videos, magazine covers, and action-leaning Hollywood roles, the public began questioning how she achieved such a dramatic, ever-evolving physique. While Grace never confirmed or supported any claims involving enhancement substances, speculation arose simply because her appearance defied what audiences were used to seeing in female performers. Her peak Hollywood moment came when she took on roles that highlighted her potent physicality characters who embodied strength, agility, and command. Directors cast her not as a background performer, but as a cinematic force capable of matching male action stars beat for beat. Yet this visibility also intensified scrutiny. Each new appearance sparked commentary about her evolving musculature, the intensity of her training, and the shifting lines in her shoulders, arms, and back. None of these discussions were grounded in fact. Yet the entertainment world often treats difference as mystery, and mystery quickly becomes speculation. Behind the scenes, Grace's transformation was built on discipline. She trained rigorously for performances that demanded stamina and power, blending dance, athletics, and choreography into a lifestyle that kept her in continuous motion. Those close to her often described her as a relentless perfectionist, someone who pushed her body to physical extremes through sheer will. But Hollywood rarely highlighted the work. Instead, it leaned into the spectacle, the woman with the impossible physique, the icon who seemed carved from steel. That reduction diminished both her artistry and her humanity. Public reaction reflected the shock waves she sent through American culture. Supporters viewed her as a revolutionary figure who smashed norms and expanded the definition of what a female performer could be. Critics, however, projected suspicion onto her muscularity, revealing the discomfort many felt toward women who expressed visible strength. Conversations about her body often overshadowed the complexity of her performances, turning her into a symbol rather than a fully realized artist. Grace Jones's lasting impact on American pop culture is profound. She challenged the entertainment industry's narrow standards, reshaped the relationship between femininity and strength, and paved the way for actresses with athletic builds to take on more commanding roles. Her legacy extends far beyond rumors or speculation. It lies in the bold, unapologetic image she crafted, a vision of power that forced Hollywood and the world to rethink the limits of transformation. 2. Madonna. Madonna has reinvented herself more times than nearly any performer in American entertainment, and her body has been a central part of that evolution. Rising from the dance floors of New York to global superstardom, she built a brand rooted in movement, stamina, and a relentless drive for physical reinvention. As her career progressed, her physique shifted dramatically from lean dancer to sharply defined, almost athletic muscularity during certain eras. These changes fueled waves of speculation. Some commentators questioned whether extreme training alone could account for her rapid physical transformations, while others pointed to the intense pressures faced by performers who rely on choreographed spectacle. Madonna consistently attributed her evolving look to training, dance rehearsals, yoga, and disciplined fitness. Yet in the public imagination, the speed and extremity of some changes sparked rumors she never entertained. During her peak Hollywood and pop culture years, Madonna's body became its own narrative. Music videos, film appearances, and arena tours showcased her in roles that demanded endurance and strength. Directors and choreographers pushed her toward increasingly athletic performances, sequences filled with lifts, spins, complex poses, and constant movement. Maintaining a body capable of that level of output required ceaseless preparation. Hours of rehearsals, strict nutrition, and targeted gym sessions shaped her physical identity. But with every new transformation came new scrutiny. Tabloids dissected her arms, shoulders, and back. Viewers debated whether she had crossed the line between dance conditioning and something more extreme. The conversation often revealed more about public expectations of aging women than it did about Madonna herself. Behind the scenes, the emotional and physical pressure grew heavier. Madonna built her legacy on ferocity, the ability to outwork, outdance, and outlast. That commitment demanded sacrifices that few performers are willing to make. As she aged, the standards placed on her body intensified instead of easing. While male artists were allowed to age gracefully into simpler performances, Madonna faced criticism any time her physique shifted, tightened, or appeared more muscular than expected. The very ambition that made her a cultural icon also invited endless speculation. Public reaction was sharply divided. Fans admired her discipline, seeing her muscular frame as a symbol of empowerment and rebellion against ageism. Critics fixated on her physical changes with harsh judgment, claiming her body was too hard, too sculpted, or too extreme for a female pop star. These reactions often carried thinly veiled bias, rooted in discomfort with women who embrace power visibly rather than quietly. Hollywood and the music industry benefited from her intensity, yet they were among the first to scrutinize her for it. Madonna's impact on American pop culture is unparalleled. She helped redefine what a performer's body could be: strong, athletic, unapologetic. Her evolution forced audiences to confront their own assumptions about femininity, age, and transformation. Whether admired or critiqued, her physical reinvention remains a central part of her legacy, a blueprint for performers who refuse to let the world dictate how they must look. 1. Linda Hamilton. Linda Hamilton became an unexpected symbol of female strength in American cinema when she transformed herself for a role that would redefine action storytelling. Early in her career, she was known for softer, dramatic performances, but everything changed when she prepared for her portrayal of a hardened survivor in a landmark sci-fi franchise. Her dramatic physical shift, tight muscle definition, sinewy arms, and a fighter's posture shocked audiences who had never seen a woman embody such intensity on screen. As the character evolved into a symbol of resilience, fans and commentators began dissecting Linda's transformation. Some wondered whether extreme training alone could account for the speed and sharpness of her physical changes. Linda consistently credited her look to rigorous workouts, weapons training, and long hours spent building stamina. But the speculation stayed, reflecting more about the rarity of muscular women in mainstream Hollywood than any confirmed truth. Her peak fame arrived during the rise of the franchise, when her character became one of the most iconic figures in modern cinema. Hollywood celebrated her toughness, but also placed immense pressure on her to maintain a body that symbolized raw survival. The studio system demanded believability in action roles, and Linda delivered it. Yet every new interview or public appearance became an opportunity for the media to scrutinize her build. The line between admiration and suspicion blurred, as tabloids analyzed her arms and shoulders, with the same intensity they usually reserved for red carpet gossip. Behind the scenes, the transformation took a massive toll. Preparing for such a demanding role meant constant training, weapons drills, and choreography. Her body became a tool, one she pushed to its limits to meet the expectations of an industry unaccustomed to female action leads. She once spoke about the exhaustion, the emotional burden, and the fear of not living up to the standards she had set for herself. While audiences treated her physical change as sudden, the reality involved months of grueling preparation and a psychological commitment that extended far beyond the gym. Hollywood reacted with both awe and hesitation. On one hand, Linda Hamilton proved that a woman could anchor an action franchise with authenticity and physical authority. On the other, the industry struggled to figure out what to do with a woman whose body did not fit the familiar mold of delicacy. Casting agents offered her roles that emphasized toughness but rarely provided the same emotional range given to male action stars. Instead of celebrating her versatility, Hollywood boxed her in, fearing that her physical presence overshadowed traditional expectations of femininity. Public reaction mirrored that contradiction. Fans admired her for embodying a new kind of heroine, one defined by grit instead of glamour. Critics, however, questioned her transformation with the same skepticism faced by other muscular women in the spotlight. The speculation surrounding her body became a proxy for larger cultural anxieties about female strength. Linda Hamilton's lasting impact on American pop culture is immense. She opened the door for future generations of actresses to embrace physical power on screen without apology. Her transformation remains one of the most influential in Hollywood history, a reminder that when women display strength, the world pays attention, even if it does not always understand. In a place where image is currency and transformation is a silent requirement, every story you heard tonight reveals the hidden cost of surviving the spotlight. These actresses carried the weight of expectation, obsession, and scrutiny, often paying a price the audience never sees. Their journeys expose a truth Hollywood rarely admits. Strength may earn applause, but it also invites judgment. If you want to continue uncovering the darker chapters of this industry, the previous episode is linked in the description and pinned in the comments. And if you appreciate documentary storytelling that pulls back the curtain instead of looking away, make sure you subscribe to Tick Tick. More untold stories are already on the way.